In today's news episode, we have gathered a lot of news to share with you. We talk about The Mandalorian, Alita Battle Angel 2, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. In addition, you can learn about all the plans that the new DC bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran have come up with in our huge news on DC. Let us tell you this much: not all characters from the DCEU will have their place in the future. We hope you enjoy our video. When Alita Battle Angel was released in 2019, the movie was able to thrill countless fans. However, a sequel was not set in stone, so it did come as a surprise what producer Jon Landau had to announce in the course of a Deadline interview. According to Landau, who is in charge of production for both the upcoming Avatar: The Way of Water and Alita Battle Angel, he would be very pleased to produce a sequel. He has already spoken with director Robert Rodriguez about it. Landau hopes to see his words turned into action in the near future. Nevertheless, he refused to give the whole thing a concrete timestamp, as this could be used against him. So it doesn't sound like 100% confirmation of the sequel, but fans can still be optimistic. It should be interesting to see how high the production costs will be this time. After all, the original film cost nearly $200 million and only grossed twice as much at the box office, which is not all that much in comparison. In return, however, they have created a fan favorite that could easily be built upon, as the mangas certainly provide plenty of material. Stay tuned for more news on Alita Battle Angel 2. Disney Plus currently offers more Star Wars projects than ever, including the Book of Boba Fett, Andor, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. The kickoff for today's series abundance, however, came from another series, and that was The Mandalorian. After the start of Season 1 in 2019, a large fan base formed around the series, especially the cute baby Yoda became famous beyond the limits of Star Wars fans. Now, there has already been a 2-year break since Season 2, which was caused in part by pandemic-related restrictions on production. Apparently, the waiting time is now to be extended a little longer. According to a leak, Season 3 was originally supposed to be released in February. Disney obviously sees that differently, and so we will have to remain patient until March. The season length of 8 episodes will not change for the time being, and the people responsible for the first 2 seasons will also be back, for the most part. On the acting side, there are also plenty of familiar faces to be spotted, including Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian, Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan, Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon, Carl Weathers as Grief Karga, and Emily Swallow as the Armorer. Also confirmed are newcomers Christopher Lloyd, made world famous by Back to the Future, and the Goldbergs actor Tim Meadows in roles not yet known. The first trailer was released in mid-September. A selected audience was recently able to see new footage at this year's Comic-Con in Brazil. However, the general public will probably have to wait a little longer. The story in Season 3 will be about Din Djarin's journey to Mandalore. After making a fatal mistake, he must free himself from his guilt in order to become an honorable part of the Mandalorians again. We hope to see a new trailer soon. The Mandalorian Season 3 will be released on March 1st, 2023, as usual on Disney Plus. This week, we've got another wave of announcements from Warner Brothers. As The Hollywood Reporter exclusively claims, DC is facing the biggest reorganization in years, and many movies are affected by the restructuring. The first piece of news concerns the planned 3rd movie in the Wonder Woman franchise. Although leading actress Gal Gadot still made a promo for Wonder Woman on Twitter this week, the movie is now completely put on hold. The reason is a creative disagreement between director Patty Jenkins and DC Studios heads James Gunn and Peter Safran. Jenkins' worked-out plan no longer fits the current vision of Safran and Gunn, and thus the film has been scrapped, obviously also to the surprise of Gal Gadot. Patty Jenkins had been drafting the script since 2019, even before the release of Wonder Woman 1984, and she also said that the story arc had always been designed for 3 separate films. When an official confirmation for the 3rd part followed 2 days after the theatrical release of Wonder Woman 1984, barely anyone actually had doubts about the completion of the film, although neither the reviews nor the box office takings were worth mentioning. The second piece of news concerns Man of Steel 2, which has been repeatedly teased in recent weeks and, boosted by Henry Cavill's appearance in Black Adam 2, was considered as good as certain. However, as early as November, occasional rumors surfaced that the likelihood of it happening was not as high as it was believed to be. Nevertheless, even Dwayne Johnson did not grow tired of emphasizing his merit in the return of Henry Cavill until recently. Safran and Gunn seem to have other plans in their new position as DC bosses, however, as Man of Steel 2 is officially no longer on the agenda. That's because the Snyderverse and all of the superheroes involved are to be removed to create a clear cut between the old and new DCEU. The DC heads are now taking all sorts of steps to report back to Warner Brothers Discovery head David Zaslav next week and present their plans for the universe. Still, the decision not to let Henry Cavill return after all is likely to cause great frustration among fans. After all, Cavill is considered a true fan favorite. things are not looking good for the sequel to Black Adam at the moment either, as the box office results do not reflect the expectations of those responsible at all. So far, the film has grossed just under $390 million on a production budget of up to $230 million, which is far from a success. According to a Variety article from last week, Black Adam would need to bring in about $600 million to cover all costs, including marketing, and turn a profit. At the moment, however, it doesn't look like that's going to happen, even though Dwayne Johnson published his own figures on Twitter on Wednesday claiming the opposite. So, the odds of a sequel are low for Black Adam as well. Next, would like to talk about the Aquaman franchise. The second part will be released on December 25th, 2023, but what will happen after that? In all likelihood, the Aquaman franchise will not survive the restructuring either, so after Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, it will probably all be over for Jason Momoa's character. According to current reports, however, the actor himself will not be written off, but rather be given a new role in DC's future. Momoa is reportedly set to play the alien bounty hunter Lobo, who made his first appearance in the Omega Men comics in 1983. In the 2018 series Krypton, which is a prequel to Superman, Lobo was already embodied by Emmett J. Scanlon. In fact, even back then, there were people who envisioned Jason Momoa much more suited for the role. Finally, in addition to all the surprise decisions, which surely not everyone will be pleased with, we would like to announce one piece of positive news. The Batman franchise is exempt from the restructuring. So, Matt Reeves is still working on the Batman 2. And the further expansion of the film series should also move forward. So what do you think of all these announcements? And are you able to understand why Gunn and Safran want to make a cut in order to completely reboot the DCEU? Feel free to let us know your opinion in the comments. Only recently did Phil Lord surprise us in an interview with the statement that the upcoming Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will feature not one, but 6 animation styles. Depending on the scene, these are to be adapted to the plot and raise the visuals to a new level. This week, we have more news about the upcoming multiverse movie in the form of new images. You can see the main character Miles, who for once is not in his superhero outfit, but in everyday clothes in a crowd of people. A different image shows Miles and Gwen Stacy from behind. In the background, you can see the scenery of New York City, and according to the photo and Gwen's ponytail, the two are sitting upside down, thanks to their spider powers. In addition, the responsible parties have provided a date for the first trailer, which is supposed to be released on December 13th, 2022. Leaked merchandise for the film also gives us some new impressions. The images show Miles in a black and white costume reminiscent of the noir Spider-Man, as well as Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man 2099. Now it is already clear that the variations of Spider-Man will be even greater than before. After some memorable appearances in the first part, the multiverse will thus open up a bit more. In terms of numbers, this means that almost 240 characters will appear in the sequel, while in 2018 there were only 40. On June 2nd, 2023, the time will finally come and we will be able to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in theaters. We are definitely excited for the trailer in the coming week. Hollywood was shocked when Warner Bros. Discovery, under the leadership of its new CEO, announced that the 2 movies, Batgirl and Scooby-Doo, would never see the light of day, despite their completion. The reason given was the focus on qualitatively larger and better-known projects. For many, it was clear that it will certainly not stop at the 2 films, and so only a few believed that DC's Blue Beetle would ever run in theaters. Now, via Twitter, DC decided to end the mystery as the responsible parties published a first poster and thus a definite proof that the film will be released. Much to the delight of many fans, the studio also directly provides a date for the theatrical release, which is August 18th, 2023. You can't really guess much from the new poster, so it's still not clear what the plot will be like. The superhero has a long history in DC Comics and first appeared in Mystery Men Comics number 1, 1939. The Beetle-like main character has powers such as superhuman strength, the absorption of energy, a shield against toxic environmental influences, and of course, flying. Blue Beetle will also be DC's first film centered around a Latin American superhero. Now that the promotional phase has started, we are looking forward to more news about Blue Beetle soon, which will be out on August 18th, 2023. That was this week's news. We'll see you again next Saturday with the latest news about Hollywood and the world of films. In the meantime, if you want to see more, check out the new amazing trailers for Gen V and The Last of Us. Until then, we wish you lots of fun with our video content here on our channel. Thanks for watching.